Hello guys, this is Christian. I want to give you an update on the COVID situation with me. So I'm gonna start from the beginning for you to have a better understanding of what was going on. So in October, I had a heart procedure and I was sort of already quarantining to get better. So in November, I had to return to work November 1st. But unfortunately, because my work did not meet my accommodations, I had to my job didn't meet my accommodations, so I ended up getting injured. And then my first day of returning back to work, and I ended up getting injured, and I had to take another week or so off. I think I took 2 weeks off. And that will be another story because it's a whole different video. But then during the time that I was off, my parents came to my room or visited me or whatever, and I ended up getting COVID. So not only was I healing from the heart procedure in October, but I ended up getting infected with COVID and healing from my work injury. And the injury where I got injured, when I hurt myself lifting a box, and the area where they did the procedure ended up getting hurt, so I had to be off. Had to go to some rehab again, and so it was a lot. So then we're in November. The first week I didn't really feel anything. The second week is when I started coughing and feeling dizzy and being unable to breathe. But I thought it was just normal. So the third week, I ended up going into the hospital because my symptoms were beyond worse. And during that time, my mother, she had COVID, and also my dad. But my dad had no symptoms. My mother, because she's diabetic, she also got it worse than what he did, or what a normal person would go through. So before I go to the hospital, I was gonna go to Baylor, and Baylor rejected me. And during that time, my mom had fainted, and I had called the ambulance, and they took her to Baylor. So they admitted her, but they did not take me. Then 2 days later, because they admitted her, I went to Dallas Regional, where I always go. And I thought they weren't going to take me because I was rejected by Parkland. I was rejected by Baylor. And I got diagnosed at Dallas Regional. So I was thinking, am I going to go? Am I not? The 20th of November, 2020 is when I got admitted because something was going on with my lungs. I couldn't breathe. I had no energy. I don't even know how I drove myself to work. I mean, not to work, to the hospital. I just pushed myself, and I just did what I had to do, and I got admitted. I did not know my uncle was in the same hospital as I was. And I didn't really know what was the purpose of me, being there. Now I have a better understanding. But the 20th, that day, I ended up getting a message from my mom, who got a message from a sister at church, who wanted to speak to me. I was like, okay, I really hadn't really spoken to her in a while. It was from my current church where I had left, which will be another video. So I didn't really communicate with anyone from my current church where I left because of certain circumstances, but that will be another video. And to make things short, my mom and her were requesting for me to see if I could have my uncle in the same room as me, because my uncle was there before me and he wasn't doing so good. So I ended up asking, and I did get a little assertive with them, but thankfully they moved him with me. They told me he wasn't gonna make it. He was gonna die. Like, literally, they're like, we don't know what his chances are. It seems like he's given up. That's literally what the nurse told me, which is ridiculous, but I understand, I get him and I look at him and he's so pale. He looks like death. He even had a little stank on him, So they put him in the bed and he was like, thank you for transferring me. He was telling me that the person next to him was dying or something, and that he preached to him. And I believe in God, and I believe that there's a purpose for everything. So he was telling me that the enemy, which is the devil, which is the bad guy, was mad at him because he won a soul for him, and he was just mad and was trying to take my uncle for that. So literally, if you were to see my uncle, he's the type of person that is really kind and caring, and he's a goofball. He's such a goofball. Oh my God. He's uber goofy, annoyingly goofy. So that's how I know him. But when I got him into the room, that wasn't his personality. It was more very down, very giving up. And I had past issues with him, church related, and that's another story. But that's when I learned, that it sort of opened my eyes and it shook me, because that's when I felt a great love for him. I guess God was opening my eyes that I'm not only going to lose a pastor, an old pastor, but I'm going to lose my uncle. And for me, back then I was like, whatever, family. But now, going through all this, family is very important to me. And, I didn't want to lose him. So I'm not a praying person. I mean, I tried my best to serve God. But my best isn't enough. So, with the power of prayer and me being a supportive person with him, he ended up getting better. I would push him to eat. I would call his family. His family was very grateful, and it brought us together. Very grateful for one of my cousins who kept an eye on me. I didn't expect that. I was like, whoa. So it brought my family a little bit closer. But I realized that I don't want to lose anybody in my life. And when you feel you're lonely, you really aren't. You just have to put the effort to want to accept that love. And I guess that was what's going on with me. So I ended up just caring for him and pushing my uncle to eat and showing him pictures of his loved ones and telling him, hey, he's a grandpa, so I was telling him, hey, your granddaughter is gonna meet you. You need to make it. You have daughters and you have a whole congregation waiting for you to get better. Don't give up. I was being supportive, something that I know I'm not. Like, not that I'm a negative person, but I'm more of a I care for myself type of person. Well, not anymore, but I was. I didn't really care for many people because people have hurt me in the past, and those are other videos. During that week, my heart. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, turn your heart of stone into a heart of flesh. And that's what happened with me and my uncle, and just me thinking, okay, because I was already like, I think that the one thing I told God was, God, I understand if you need to take me, but put me in my uncle's place, because people need him. They don't need of me. I've already had 3 heart procedures, 2 strokes, 3 seizures. I've pretty much have experienced death 3 times. And if you want to take me, then take me, but don't take my uncle. And it's sad to hear that, but God had other plans for me and my uncle. And during that time, I was feeling so lonely, but I told God, I'm not worth it. I'm not worth saving. I'm just not worth it. No one loves me. I'm not in a relationship. My ministries are down right now. I've lost a lot of stuff. I have my dogs, but I've shown my parents how to take care of them. And I don't feel needed. My sister's fine. Her relationship is great. I've already taught my parents everything they need to know. I've updated them. I think it's time for me to go, but save my uncle, because he's the leader. His life is worth more than mine. And thankfully, God had other plans for us. When I said that, he literally, instantly, started healing my uncle. And I started getting worse. Then my uncle, starts feeling better, and I'm like, thank you. But I start getting, it's like everything he had passed to me. Like I sucked his disease or his COVID or whatever. And then he left, and he's like, feel better. And I'm like, okay. When he left, I felt such a sadness. I was like, okay, well, I have no one to care for anymore. I think it's time for me to die. So I called my mother, and I'm like, hey, I started seeing people dying. So, I could see, because my door was open, and people, the nurses kept rushing bodies to the ICU. From the ICU, you can tell by their conversations. Oh, Mr. So-and-so died and Mrs. So-and-so died. But it was happening like every 30 to 40 minutes. So I was like, okay, God, I think you're telling me that it's my time. And I remember just shutting down, and I called my mom and I'm like, Mom, I'm afraid of what's going on right now, but you know, if you want to pray for me, pray for me. I just don't think I'm gonna make it. She prayed for me, and because I was giving up, I didn't want to pray anymore, but I was scared, and I told my mom, I'm sort of giving up. I'm tired, and I explained to her everything I'm telling you, and she's like, no, God has other plans for you. She's like, yes, it was God's plan for you to help your uncle get better, but God has other plans for you. And I was like, I doubt it, because everything I do, people attack me and they try to put me down, or they try to destroy me, or they get jealous of what I have to bring or offer, or I'm just always an obstacle for not only people, but for myself, because then I let that get to me. And there's another video, but I hadn't been to church in 10 years. So 2020 was my year back, and it wasn't a positive year, you know, as you can tell. But for me to come back to church, you know, and that's one of the reasons why I left the church, because I didn't like seeing my mom being attacked by these people who she called her friends. That just added more to my pain in my heart, and me having to stay quiet. If you're a pastor's kid or a preacher's kid or a minister kid, and you or your parents just serve God and like really serve God, and you see them go through stuff and see how people treat them and backstab them, you get tired of that. And then it gets worse if your uncle's the pastor and you start seeing things that he's not doing right and you don't have a say-so. And when you finally confront him, it's like he tells you, well, if you don't like it, bye. Because that's what happened. And I had grudges, but I let it go. And, you know, after my mom starts praying for me, and after Sister Mariela, which is a person at church who I learned to admire and respect, I was just tired, you know. So thankfully, things turned around for me. I ended up getting better. And God healed me, and He reminded me of the promise He made when I had my first heart procedure. He took me back to that room, this white room, where only me and Him spoke. And He reminded me of the promises He made me, and how He was going to use me, and that my journey is not over, and everything He's put me through is for my well-being, but also the journey that I have to go through to be able to do what He needs me to do. So it's like a training type of thing. And I asked God, I don't want to go through this anymore. I'm tired, you know, I'm tired of trying. I'm tired of rebuilding myself and then people knock me down, or tired of seeing ungrateful people who say they worship you and they complain about church and not wanting to go. And that's where I'm at. I've fallen, you know. I'm tired of seeing people that say they worship you and claim you, and I see them in the streets acting a fool, not showing love and mercy and empathy like you do. So God just told me, don't focus on them, focus on you, and focus on the promises that I have for you. Along the way, you're gonna go through these things, but it's me showing you and preparing you and teaching you these things and lessons of what to do and what not to do, and how to be and not to be. And he reminded me, you are a child of prophecy. What I mean by that is, when I was younger, which is another story, but I'll give you a summary. When I was younger, many people preached to my mother about me and my sister that we were gonna be used in a great way by God. And God confirmed it many times. And he reminded me of those current situations where they would bring us to the altar and pray for us and literally tell us in our face, God's gonna use you. You have a journey you're gonna go through, but it's all worth it. Like, they were like prepping us, I guess. So now that I look at that, I'm like, well, it's true, but that's another video. But he reminded me that I'm like a child of prophecy, like he's like, yeah, there in your blood there is prophecy. And I'm like, okay. I didn't know what it meant until I started asking myself, what does he mean still, And pretty much it's like God has a calling for me, just like he does you. And it's what you do with it, and how you manage your experience and how you apply yourself, and everything that you've gone through in your life for a reason. It happened. So that's what I understand of it right now. But after, I think it was a Friday when they let me go, which was the 7th day. I was in the hospital for 7 days, guys, which is apparently the number of Jesus or God or something. So it's the perfect number apparently. So it took 7 days for me to get better and have these conversations with God and having these epiphanies and just really having a conversation with God. And the 27th, I get out and I'm good enough to walk, but I have no energy. I have to, they had me on oxygen. I would still get some chills here and there, but I wasn't 100%. And I was thinking, well, because the doctor told me you're gonna be in oxygen for 6 months to a year. And I was like, I don't want to be in oxygen for 6 months to a year. I mean, no. So thankfully I won this battle, and I look forward to what God has in store for me. I'm just in awe, all of this happened, and it happened to teach us not only a lesson, but to bring my family together, to build our faith, to grow as people, to forgive, to unite, to love, to show empathy, compassion, and most of all, to have faith and not to lose it. And that's where I'm at right now. I believe it's December 13th, and I'm okay. Like I'm, as you can see, I don't really have the oxygen as much anymore. I can talk to you. I don't have the cough anymore. I can breathe. I can walk. I do get tired a lot, but that's something that will leave me over time. But I want to thank everyone who prayed for me, who kept the faith for me, who called me, who prayed for me through text, through Facebook, through email. Everyone internationally who prayed for me, thank you so much. For my church for not giving up on me. And for my parents for not giving up on me and loving me unconditionally, even though sometimes I'm a little jerk. But I want to thank everyone. And if you're going through COVID and feel how I feel, reach out to me. Don't give up and have faith in God. There's a scripture in the Bible. I don't know the name of it. I'll probably post it after I edit this video. But where it says, if you have faith like a little mustard seed, God can move mountains. You know, and the mustard seed is tiny, tiny. That's how much faith you need. Don't give up. Surround yourself with positive people, with loved ones. Be positive, stay positive, and pray. And it's okay to ask for help. Even in prayer. Put yourself out there and ask for help and let people help you. Because you're vulnerable. You're going through something that hopefully not a lot of people are going through, but surround yourself with love and kindness. And be kind to yourself. And don't lose the faith. Don't lose hope. Remember that God is with you. He was there for me and He still is. And I know that He is there for you. All you need to do is reach out your hand and say, God, come in my life. Heal me completely. Forgive my sins. That's all you need to do. And watch how fast God responds. Well, with this, I leave you guys. Thank you so much for hearing me out. You guys have a blessed morning. Today is Sunday, December 13th, 2020. I pray that I can post this video on today. But keep in your prayers. Please follow me, like, subscribe, share, comment positively, and give the video a like. Please watch the video and share it, because I know someone out there needs to hear this. Bye, guys.